Ready.
Excellent. All right. Hey, hello, everybody. It's Joe, and I am so excited to be here with Kathy Konicek, who we affectionately call KK. Um, we're going to talk about online learning today for our folks on 1 Minute YM crowd. And what's really cool about KK, there's so many things that are cool about her, but she is part of Mel's team developing our Cirrus Change Readiness online curriculum. KK got us with Mel through the Quality Matters certification process on the first try. Now, there's a lot to brag about with KK, but I just want to point that out that she knows her stuff and we collaborate and learn so much together. It's just every time she brings up a point, we stop and think and go, oh, that's a good point. So Kathy is a 25-year veteran with online learning experience. We were so lucky to get her from the UW-Madison, where she did 22 years worth of online learning and curriculum development. How many LMS selections were you part of?
Oh, at least 4.
Well, at least 4. Okay. At least 4 that we know of. Obviously, you've been advising us. And so, Kathy's one of these folks that's probably forgotten more about online learning than most of us will ever know. And she just guides us every day. So we're going to talk, regular about 9 minutes. I've got a couple of questions for her. And my goal for all of you watching is to think about, as you implement your own online learning programs or you revamp them, because we all know just how essential it is. See if you can pull some nuggets of wisdom out from Kathy. And of course, we can always have follow-up conversations. But, this is just something we wanted to make sure that we did because 1, I enjoy these conversations. And 2, I think there's a lot of wisdom here that we just love to share. So with that, Kathy, thanks for spending time with me today.
Thanks for the introduction, Joe.
Oh, you bet. All right. So here is question number 1. Why are you passionate about online learning? You can't spend 22 years at the UW and not be passionate about it.
Well, I'm passionate about education. So my background is starting it in education. And at the university where I worked, it was wonderful to work with faculty who were subject matter experts in areas that I wouldn't even begin to understand half of it. But working with them to put content, some of it, all of it online, or some of it online, was just a thrill. And teaching them how to do portions of it. So as an educator myself, coming from K-12 then to the university and helping faculty with technology and teaching, it's just a delight to see the light bulb go off or to see the course finally live and the students engaged.
Yeah, that's fantastic. When did you know that you were making a difference? What was that aha moment that you had, or if you can remember an aha moment?
Well, I would say that we were in some cases, the courses were reaching more students that were waiting to get into the course. So as a faculty member would say, oh my gosh, this is working out really well. They're able to get quality content, get their course through Quality Matters. So it is a good course, and just being able to meet the needs that they were struggling with.
So, you just mentioned a couple of topics, and I want to pull on a couple of those threads. When you said the needs that they were struggling with, can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, in some cases, they couldn't meet the demand for students to get a course when they needed it. And therefore, instead of graduating in 4 years, it would take longer. So you can reach a broader range. And for associations, it may mean that folks are dispersed and the cost of bringing them on site. And can your content actually be delivered online well? And we can teach how to do that.
So, I mean, I love the fact that, it's this notion, and I talk about it a lot, of just like leaving people better than you found them. I mean, clearly that's your ethic as a teacher, and a person who is supporting the associations. And so I guess what you're suggesting is that there's a lot that people can learn to empower themselves here.
Absolutely. And sometimes it takes a team. Sometimes you don't have a team. And so that's something that someone like myself or a team who've been educated in instructional design or have delivered or helped delivered courses or have even taught online can help give you some tips and tricks to make it much easier to get started.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think there's that fog index that so many people say, gosh, I really want to do this, but how do I even get started?
Yes.
And that's where obviously having somebody like you, on their team and available is so helpful. The other thread I want to pull on is quality matters, and I'm just gonna, obviously I've been around this process. I worked, watch you and Mel work so hard. I've gotten to know some of the people who were, mentors to us through that process. But why is it important to have that quality matters certification?
Well, it's in some cases for some organizations, it's a requirement. Okay. And it's helping the designer and the subject matter expert, the instructor, the faculty, the trainer, to, I wouldn't say guaranteed the word, but it's almost is the word, that the course has certain elements that's going to enhance the learning process, that's going to give you and your students a good learning process. So they have certain requirements and guidelines and steps that are just awesome to make sure your course has, so that can take place, so that it's good learning can take place. And it's quite a few requirements, but definitely worth it. And again, since I've been through that, and also Starkweather has been through that several times, or at least for some of the courses that we're delivering, that it's a nice stamp of approval. Right.
So clearly it allows you to set yourself up really with some recognition that your peers might not have, because you're turning out quality, independently recognized and verified content.
Correct.
Right. And it is super cool. And obviously I'm so proud of what you guys have done. And, and it's a great testimony to how you and Mel work together, and how well the team works on developing our content. So I want to use some of the few minutes that we have left to talk about some takeaways for our association and learning leaders out there. It's kind of a, it's the old sort of, what 3 things does someone need to know? So in this case, if you were to say what, and make recommendations, what would those 3 things be that you would want to make sure that an association leader knows as they think about a new online learning program or revamping their program?
That's a really good question. I mean, there's so many things you could focus on. I'm going to focus on 3, what I think are the top 3 most important. And the first one is know your members, know your learners. What do they really need? For some associations, it's going to be really clear. We got a compliance course, or we got a course on some kind of compliance or requirement that has to be met. Okay. And can that be put online so that folks can learn the material they need to know and understand it? And in a lot of cases, it can with today's technology of live webinars with interaction, or on demand, where there's some video and some content and some testing, assessments, and did the learner actually grasp it? So know your learners in terms of what do they really want, or need. Also be really careful. What if they don't have a compliance or required course? What about other content? Well, you ask your learners and your members, what do they want? And you give them a whole list. They're going to check them all. And all of a sudden you build something, an online course, and you realize no one's coming. So the question we asked in online learning is, how high of a need is the course for them to do their job? And they kind of say it's really, really high need and really important right now. Got a high need to learn this course. And when that happens, that might be the course that they more likely will take. So we can help kind of pinpoint what would be a good course for your organization to offer online.
Great.
The second thing is who's going to create the content? In some cases, association and membership has one person. Okay. A lot of times it's the instructor or the trainer, and that's a lot to put on them. Okay.
Sure.
So to pair them, well, oftentimes I'd be paired with a subject matter expert, the faculty, to pair them and say, okay, let's take a look at some of this content, and we're going to help guide you on how, or ask you questions to see what is the best delivery format and what you're most comfortable with. So sometimes it's one person that can guide them. Sometimes you have a really good instructor who says, I know what I want online. Okay, I just need help with some of the technology. So really, and sometimes it's a team effort.
Right. Sure.
To do that. And the third thing is, what do you need to keep track of? Do you need to keep track of their credits? Okay, so, or a certification for them? What kind of LMS? Do you need a learning management system? How can, that's a whole nother can of worms. Okay, and that's also something we have a lot of experience with. Okay,
right.
What do you really need? How do we keep it simple, but yet easy for your members and learners to get the course and then to look back on it, to learn from it still, or to just say, what do I have left for the number of credits I need to get for the learning that's either required or needed? And so that's something that we can also help with, or something your organization may already have an LMS, and then leverage that more efficiently.
Right. Well, and these are some great points, and I really appreciate you taking some time to think about them. We've had experience with clients who have been the certification or certifying authority for a particular profession, and it does distill down to, when do you have to have those credits? What do you need to track? What categories? And I think having that end in mind is so important. This process can appear daunting to folks before they kind of decide to give up. What would you recommend that they do?
I think what you're saying is before they venture into this area, what would they do? Or
I would say, what would be that first step? That's a good way of rephrasing it.
Well, I think the first step is getting to your organization. Most likely knows, it has an idea of what to offer or what the learner may need. Okay, so the first step is, God, we have an urgent need. Now, sometimes find the urgent need one, because the urgent need one, okay, will be more motivating for you and also more motivating for the learners to take. Okay?
That's a great bit of insight. Find the urgent need.
Find the urgent need, and then start getting rolling on that if you need, and start having some conversations with who you think will be in the room. It always starts at least with an hour conversation going, let's brainstorm. Okay, who could do this part? What about this part? Is this the right course? Yes, it is. And then you meet again with a little more structure. Okay, how do we take the first step? What do we need? Okay.
Oh, that is a great insight. So with that, it's funny because my alarm went off because I try to guide the conversation to say stay within it, but I lost track of time just because I was paying attention to you, Kathy. So thank you so much for the conversation today, the insights. Remember, folks, find the urgent need, and then follow Kathy's kind of 3 recommendations. With that, reach out to us here at Starkweather. Kathy's available. Obviously, we're all busy. Everybody's busy. But I think if you can have a conversation, that may really steer you down the right path. And of course, we love for people to succeed. We're service oriented, and we want to solve membership technology problems so that you folks can go home on time. And you work so hard to serve others. We want to serve you. So with that, Kathy, thank you so much for the time. And
thank you.
Pleasure. And everybody else, have a great day and reach out to us.